we keep throwing around this term social identity. Let's talk about that in
Yeah.
case some of the folks here are not as familiar as that. Um, so social identities in general are some of the identities that we hold that really have ties to systems and power dynamics in larger structures in life, right? So it's things like gender, ability, race, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, religion, it's things like that. Not so much things like I'm a mom, I'm a runner. Those are more personal identities. So when we're talking about research through this lens of social identity, what we're talking about is really digging into the way that identity influences experiences and perspectives. And so when we're doing surveys, when we're doing focus groups, when we're doing interviews, we're really thoughtful about the identities that folks hold. And especially in survey research, we have a set of questions that, folks might refer to them as the demographic questions, but we call them the social identity questions because, it's not about fitting folks into a particular box. It's not about looking at, categories that are maybe prescribed by your organization or something. It's really about, we want you to describe yourself the way that you identify. How do you describe yourself? What words do you use? And so we're constantly evolving the answer choices that we put in that section, but we always have a prefer to self-describe section in each of our social identity questions because we really want folks to have that freedom to describe themselves the way that they do. We don't do surveys where we go through an organization's HRIS system or something like that, where somewhere on the back end, you can absolutely trace who's saying what, because everybody's got their own unique link, because we're just tapping into the HR data to understand people's department or their race or their gender or things like that. That's really contrary to the way that NOVA approaches research because we are all about identity and the way folks describe themselves, not the data that an organization may have on file for you. Because a lot of times the data points your employer has about you are just not quite right. They're not really the way that you define yourself because you had to pick a box, or worse, somebody picked a box for you. And so it's really important to us to have that lens of social identity for that to be how we are cutting our data or organizing our themes when we're doing the qualitative work. So, social identity is just a really critical part of the way that we approach research at NOVA.